It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Yeah, welcome back to Declare Your Independence, where my eyes have not gotten any better. Oh, they're really bad. Whoa. But that's all right. You know, I take my medicine. You know, I'm going to take my medicine. Wait a minute. Oh, then that'll be better. I'm going to wear sunglasses today because I'm cool. Well, you know, this is just, you know, and then I put my sunglasses on, you know, and then, oh, my Love-olution glasses. Well, you know, we got a lot of stuff to go on today. What we're going to do today on Declare Your Independence here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com, is we're going to make sure that there is a understanding of Zeitgeist. Now, I've had people on before about this, and we've talked about it, and I'm doing my best. I'm trying to understand, trying to see where this is going and so on. Now, there's a third movie out. Now, there was Zeitgeist, the movie. Then there was Zeitgeist Expanded More Next, whatever it was called. And now it's Zeitgeist. We got the representative from Sharleen B. Now, she is the global release coordinator for Zeitgeist. Moving Forward is the name of the third one. Now, there's a lot of questions that I have, and I've had people from all over the country and here locally to talk to us about Zeitgeist because I thought it was very well done. The production quality was great. I think a lot of the information in there was very intriguing and truthful. You know, you get that out of it. But my concern is that here you have a detailed description of what the problems are. You go, yep, I agree, problem. That's problem. Yeah, that too, and that, and the solution is what? That's where it kind of gets fuzzy, and I'm trying to get a beat on who is behind doing what. Now I'm going to ask Sharleen B, and we just got her last initial here. Now Sharleen, you got to help me out. I got you there.
Yes, hello, Ernest.
Okay, now do you understand my question? Let's go ahead and talk about Zeitgeist, the first two. And then we'll talk about the global release because you're having hundreds, you know, 300-400 locations around the world in several languages. This is being distributed all over the world. And I'm sure there's a reason for doing that. But let's go ahead and start with the Zeitgeist movement to begin with. Give me a quickie on that one.
Well, first of all, in regards to your question about the film series, yes, this is the third of three. The first one, Zeitgeist, was a personal expression of themes Peter was exploring himself. This was prior to the Zeitgeist movement being formed. Then he found out about the Venus Project in between Zeitgeist 1 and Addendum, which was the second one. And so the second movie, after a massive response from people seeing the first movie, it was the most watched internet documentary in history, after we lost count after 100 million, because there's no way to track from one site at that point. But there was an enormous response to Peter on, well, what are we supposed to do? So that's when Peter came up with Zeitgeist Addendum after being introduced to the Venus Project, which is the lifelong work of industrial engineer Jacques Fresco of the Venus Project. And that is the template for this kind of transition. And then the third movie, Zeitgeist Moving Forward, is a continuation of laying down the case for why we need to switch to a resource-based economy. So at the end of Zeitgeist Addendum, the second movie, Peter put out a call for, if you would like to be a part of this social transformation, to join the Zeitgeist movement. And that's when the movement began. So in about a year and a half, the movement's grown to 500,000 people around the world. And when Peter, the previous two were released directly online to the public, but with the third movie, he decided to give the Zeitgeist movement chapters an opportunity to do some fundraising in their areas. So he did the largest independent distribution, and we totaled at 338 screenings around the world currently. There's actually been new screenings coming in based on the response and popularity in countries in Europe and South America especially, and many of them having to move on to a larger venue. So our count continues. However, it's just through January 25th, which is our premiere screening period, at which point, January 25th, the film goes up online, available for free to download and view, just like the other two. But this was a special premiere period so that we could actually get it in theaters around the world and give the chapters a chance to fundraise, as I mentioned. So it's been a wild success.
Okay, all right. You generated a whole bunch of questions for me. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Now, you called it the Venus Project, is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so we had Zeitgeist, was kind of, this gentleman's view of the planet, and he wanted to express himself, and he did. And he did it so well that the Venus Project goes, hey, man, we want to hook up with y'all. We see the power of this movie. It has an enormous number of eyes that have watched it. We want to be able to work together in bringing together a movement that can fill in the blank. Where that is, we'll find out. Now, the Venus Project, tell me about that. How long had that been around before?
Well, Jacques Fresco has been working on these concepts since the 70s. There's a famous Larry King interview available on YouTube and the Venus Project website, as well as the Zeitgeist Movement site, of him on Larry King describing these concepts back then. Of course, Jacques is way ahead of his time to foresee these problems, but basically it is where we look at the Earth's resources, which no one can deny that we all need: clean air, water, energy, and using that as our barometer for all of our decisions, rather than the way we've structured our society right now, which is through the monetary system.
Okay, so
That's
it is...
basic.
Okay, so and this is what, and I appreciate you coming on and spending time with me, because I've interviewed a lot of people that are part of the movement. They've been inspired. They're young. They have a lot of different perspectives how they're supportive of this, because they're either social engineering, architecture. They're just activists. They're dissatisfied with what's going on now, and they see something that kind of expresses how they're feeling and so on, and then they're looking for a solution. And when I talk to them or interview them at various levels in the movement, none of them really have a grasp on what the goal is. And I'm getting the impression that you have a little bit more information. So I'm excited about this conversation. Because if you didn't know already, I'm a hardcore, no-compromise libertarian from back in the day. I'm all about everybody gets to do whatever the heck you want to go be free in your way and, knock yourself out. So my thing is that from the inspiration of Zeitgeist, I saw, it was a creative movie, and it was very clear in dispelling some myths and giving some truth to some subjects that otherwise would not have been made. So I'm all hip about that. The problem is that I go, all right, we have an agreement that we have these problems. We have an agreement that there are solutions that are probably better than whatever the collective here in Washington is offering. We should have the freedom to be able to choose those as individuals. The problem is that in the Zeitgeist movement, or I guess the Venus Project, there's already a plan that's there for us. There's something that you want to do, and we're kind of running short on time. We got about a minute here. When we come back, I'm going to give you an opportunity to express that to us. There is a solution, and you've touched on it a little bit about resource allocation. So when we come back here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, and my special guest, they're describing Zeitgeist, okay? The next one, moving forward, Sharleen B. She's doing a good job of giving us some history on this, and she's going to describe for us what the solution is in the minds of the leaders of this movement. Now, does this movement have leaders? Well, we'll talk about that too. And who are they? We're going to talk about that too. We'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence in just a little bit. You stay right there.
uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.